Hello everybody. Welcome back to 10-Minute Reviews. That's Freya, the fuzzy co-star. I'm Jason. We're bringing you today's video. We're going to be talking about an author that we've talked about in the past, and I don't know if I've talked about this particular series in the past or not, but I'm going to review it as if I have talked about book one. Plus, anybody watching this video will have hopefully already read book one. As always, guys, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We'd appreciate any support you guys might want to give our small little family channel. Also, thanks to suggestions from a few people, I've finally got us signed up with the Amazon affiliate. So if you're interested in the book or the series, check the links down below. I've got a link to it down below. We're just kind of provisionally in the program, so people actually have to use the link, so they'll kick us out of it. And along with that, our Discord channel is down below. So I want to talk about Virgil Knightley and his book Nosferatu Academy 2. So far, it's a pretty interesting series. There is one thing I didn't like about it that I will talk about in a little bit, but otherwise, it's been pretty fantastic. It's a pretty cool little series, and it's different. It's a different take on a lot of the supernatural stuff. It does occur. It does start on Earth. At least book one started on Earth, but it's in almost like a pocket dimension in a way with all the supernatural creatures. But they actually study history and the history of the supernatural creatures on Earth, why they moved along. You get to meet other supernatural creatures, including gods and demons throughout this, and of course your werewolves, your ghouls, stuff like that, magic. It's a really cool blend. I mean, we've got a lot of half vampires. We've got succubi half vampires. We've got dragon half vampires. We've got angel half vampires. We've got some really cool characters and really cool species in there, along with the fact that they can use magic, which is also what the Academy is there to teach them as well. So, you know, in this particular world, sorcerers and wizards and stuff like that are not like a separate entity or separate class. You know, a lot of like lit RPG kind of stuff and things like that. A lot of fantasy tends to do that. It makes the wizards kind of the separate thing, and then your supernatural kind of your separate thing. And they'll have like their own little bloodline magics and stuff like that. In this case, magic is just something that can be learned, can be figured out, and vampires happen to be one of the races that are very good with it. And along with the Fae and stuff like that, so, which is kind of cool. So we've got vampire wizards, and we've got werewolves, and we've got, again, dragon vampire wizards, and fairy Fae vampire wizards. It's really cool. Now, the main character, Barrett, is continuing to kind of come to terms. Naturally, he's a little bit overpowered, still gets his butt kicked from time to time, but he's a little bit overpowered for a year one student in the Academy, a newly turned vampire, still less than a year old as a vampire. And he has developed, of course, quite the harem already, including Dracula's daughter. Dracula is basically a god in this as well, and that is shown a few times in his power level and the things that he can do, and the fact that he created this entire pocket dimension, which is pretty cool. But then you've also got the half succubi that was his childhood friend, and then you've got I can't remember her species, but that was his childhood bully. Just a lot of interesting characters, a lot of interesting powers. The Academy continuing to go, and him just learning more about what he is supposed to do. You have a lot of the slice of life still occurring, which is really cool. I actually enjoy the slice of life books. So you have a lot of that still going on. It's just it's kind of an everyday going through the Academy, going through the school, with the challenges, the tribulations. Dracula's a little bit of a nerd, but he's a little bit of a YA book type of nerd. It's kind of weird, but there's definitely some callbacks to some fairly well-known book and movie series within the book, and it's pretty amusing. But outside of that, he's conflicted. He's definitely conflicted with the supposed destiny he has to take over for Dracula, to rule the vampires, to bring about like almost an age of enlightenment for vampires, bring about ways for them to return to Earth. And there's a field trip in the book that covers one of their plans, and it's a little bit creepy. So this is an interesting book. It's got some really funny moments, and it's got some really oddball and a few dark things that just make you go, yeah, this yeah, I don't see you coming to Earth presenting this. Like, your sales pitch sucks. But they know it, and they want to continue to work on it. Like, that's the plan, to work on it, to be able to eventually return home in a way. Although a lot of the characters in there were born away from Earth in other areas and other dimensions. Sorry about that. Another pocket dimensions, things along those lines. But Barrett's not entirely certain he wants to. He's not entirely certain he wants to. He's going to have to take some convincing there. For the most part, he wants to learn, and he wants to just live his life. He's a little bit of a book nerd, not a lot bit of a book nerd, not like I am, but he's a lot of a bit of a book nerd, and he wants to live his life, and learn, continue learning, study history, study more books, learn more spells. So he's a little bit lazy there. Learn more powers, learn more about his background, his past, learn more about his women, just develop that family that he seems to be developing. So he doesn't know if he wants to take on this responsibility of being the head vampire of this particular vampire sect and take over for Dracula, because it just seems too much, not work, but it seems like there may be too many drawbacks. After all, why else would the immortal Dracula want to give it away? Of course, Barrett's ability to tolerate sunlight is pretty big. So there's a lot of forces pushing in on him, but overall it's an enjoyable read. It's an amusing read. It's a funny read for the most part. Once again, my one thing that I really don't like, that seems to be so common within this subgenre, not the fantasy or urban fantasy or supernatural type genres, but the subgenre, the harem lit, is always having these I know that we want the characters to have their flaws and things along those lines to make them more interesting, but having these harem members that, always having one or two of the harem members that seriously are just mentally deficient. They somehow made it to adulthood and yet don't understand social cues, don't know when to say certain things, when not to say certain things, when to keep their mouth shut, what's just straight up weird. And it makes sense in some cases, it doesn't make sense in others. Like, some cases, okay, it doesn't make sense in the ones that grew up on Earth, spent 15, 20 years on Earth. I'm autistic. I'm high functioning autistic, but I am autistic. One thing I absolutely know about is not understanding social cues, not understanding when people talk, things along those lines. And by the time you hit the age of 6 or 7, autistic kids start figuring out. It's called masking. You start figuring it out. You start figuring out when to just be quiet, because you don't understand. You start understanding that you don't understand, and you get quieter. And yet these characters somehow made it through a couple of decades of their life and managed to blend on Earth, but yet are so oddly just out there. And then you've got the one that was born and grew up in a different, away from Earth, so of course won't understand social cues and phrases and stuff like that. But even that, someone who's a couple decades old was going to figure out really quick within the first few interactions that, okay, these people are going to say things I don't understand, and when I'm not going to take it literally. Like, it can be funny once or twice. After that, it just starts looking like someone that just took a traumatic brain injury, and it kind of drives me nuts. And it's one of those things that's made me exit so many books within 20, 30, 40 pages, or exit series in second or third books quite often. So luckily this one, it was there, but the book itself was so good, and it was pretty minor, that I was able to make past. And again, Virgil Knightley, he's an awesome author. He's a great author, and he's really enjoyable. So after you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons, check the link down below and go check out Nosferatu Academy. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye now.